Hey, everybody. I want to welcome you to another Soccer with Doug video podcast this time. We're going to speak with Miguel Gallardo of MLS, former Orlando City goalkeeper, about this weekend's match against DC United at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's scheduled for 7:30 with a 7:40 p.m. kickoff. As always, it'll be broadcast on Apple. I hope you'll continue to follow Soccer with Doug. I hope you'll subscribe to Soccer with Doug. Thank you. Philadelphia's style of trying to attack, trying to press, really fit well into what Atlanta United wants to do well, which is counterattack. How do you think that is going to work against a DC United team that is not going to press and not really going to try to pin Atlanta United back this weekend?
Yeah, that's a great question. And then that's a question that I don't know that even Tata has the answer to. I think what we've seen in the first few matches is an Atlanta United that wants to have a little bit more of the ball.
Mhm.
Players in the middle looking to have a little bit more volume so they can eventually get Miguel Almiron, Latelat in good situations. But what you've seen against the Philadelphia game. Now, mind you, it's not the same Philadelphia Union that was in years past, because
Right.
even if you're a team that likes to press and the team breaks your press, you still had good defenders and fullbacks that made smart decisions, midfielders that covered ground for when the team broke your press. It's obviously not the same Philadelphia Union. They're missing key pieces like obviously Glesnes. To me, it's a
Mhm.
big one in terms of leadership. So I think that's a big key for Atlanta United. I like Alarsa. I think he's a player that can
Mhm.
help you, create some volume, break pressure, break lines when teams sit a little bit deeper. But ultimately, players like Miranchuk that are good in tight spaces. You need a little bit more mobility from lat to lat, right? He can't just be a center forward. And I know that's something that Tata's been wanting from him is to drop a little bit deeper, connect with the midfielders. But I don't know if that's his game, right? I don't know if that's what he's good at. He's more of a center forward, good in the air, making runs. Um, so that's the next part of the evolution for Tata Martino, how we are going to see his team built over the next couple of years. Because I think one thing he's been clear about is that he didn't build this team,
Right.
and I know that people expect him to do great things because of the quality of each individual, but ultimately he didn't build this team. That team in 2018 was not the first year; it was the second year where he moved some pieces based on what he thought the team needed to play the way he wanted to play.
One of the players, in addition to Galarza, that really impressed me in that last game was Baez. It was his two passes on the first goal and on the second goal
Yeah,
that kind of sprung. They went from a half field set, a build up, to suddenly a counterattack like that, and really
yeah.
surprised Philadelphia. What are you seeing from both him and Jakob on the other side that is giving you good vibes?
Yeah. Look, I like them both because they have similar characteristics. They're very front-footed. They
Mhm.
love to attack. I mean, Jacob did it with Necaxa
Mhm.
for a few seasons, and he did a really nice job. And I would argue that's why they brought him here because they saw those characteristics. It's a guy that's versatile as well, can play in different positions. But to me, uh, those guys, players like that are very good to have, but you need symmetry in a team, meaning you need balance. And yes, we can talk about Baez, awesome, two plays, but you can also talk about how many times the team seemed vulnerable because he didn't get back in time.
Wow.
And at the same time, Jacob, same thing, right? Because ultimately Jacob gets high to get that goal. And so that's one of the challenges for Tata Martino too. How can he balance out the team? How can he make sure that when those two players get forward, he's still well balanced as well? Um, and I think that's been one of the issues. And sometimes Atlanta United, especially in the first two, three games, they look more vulnerable when they had the ball.
Hmm.
And because one of the reasons uh, why is because they had numbers forward.
Right.
It's almost like they felt the need that they need to go attack, especially that game. I did that game versus Real Salt Lake,
Hmm.
and you felt like these guys truly feel the pressure of we need to go score goals. Remember
Right.
that Dan scored a goal
Yeah.
in the third game. That we need to go score goals, and so. I think that played into them being so aggressive. I think hopefully for them in this win is going to give them a little bit more tranquility and understand that you need to manage the game and it's 90 minutes plus and you can't be so front-footed. But there's no doubt that there's so much quality in Bias and Jacob and they can create a lot of chances through the wide areas, especially when you have Miranchuk coming inside, Miguel Almiron coming inside. You need width from somewhere, and you're gonna get it from those two guys. But they just got to make sure that they balance each other out.
I would love your take on Lucas Hoyos so far. He had a
Ooh.
rough first couple of games, some turnovers, a really bad pass that led to a goal. What do you see from him that needs to be worked on? And then conversely, that gives Atlanta United supporters hope that Hoyos is going to become the goalkeeper they're hoping for.
That's a really good question, and I think it's an interesting one because it's one I don't understand. I understand it, but I don't understand it at the same time. And the obvious one is right. They wanted somebody that was very good on the ball. They wanted somebody who can help the team start attacks. Um, but sometimes, and I've seen this before. I'll give you an example. I don't know, maybe it's not relevant, but it might be interesting to you. I remember when Pep Guardiola took over Manchester City, and the goalkeeper was the national team goalkeeper.
Hmm.
Hart was his name. I
Hmm.
think was his name.
Yep.
Great goalkeeper, national team goalkeeper. But he didn't play the style that he wanted to play, and instead he brought Bravo, the Chilean national team
Hmm.
goalkeeper, who was outstanding with the ball.
Hmm.
And so when Bravo came to Manchester City, what Bravo did was exaggerate uh, the things that he did on the ball. And it almost felt like the goalkeeper was told, hey, you're coming here because you get on the ball and you need to help us stay in possession and start attacks. But he exaggerated so much that he made so many mistakes, and ultimately it didn't work out.
Hmm.
And so I just wonder if that's what Hoyos feels in this Atlanta United team. It's like, hey, Brad Guzan was an amazing goalkeeper. He's legendary, but that wasn't his DNA. We need somebody like that. We need somebody that can get on the ball, break lines of pressure,
Hmm.
and get us going. And equally, when the teams are pressuring us, to make sure that you're spraying the ball to good areas and we go. And sometimes as a goalkeeper, you can feel like, hey, that's what I was brought here to do. I'm going to do it. And then you force situations, and it almost seems like you just said it. There's been a few times where it's like you're forcing passes that are not there, right? And it's not just the quality for me; it's the decision making. And so I haven't seen enough from Hoyos on the ball to be able to say, ha, that's why they brought him. Because shot stopper ability, he's not elite. You've seen him, make good saves, right? But nothing that another MLS goalkeeper, starting goalkeeper couldn't make. And so I still haven't seen the aha moment of why you would get a 36 or 37-year-old goalkeeper from Argentina that is, is he 6 foot? I don't know if he's 6 foot.
Yeah,
Uh,
he looks undersized. He seems undersized, but Brad was
right.
so big, so that might be part of it
Yeah,
too.
no, and I mean, when you got listen, when you got Mihaj and Gregerson
Right.
and Berrocal, all those guys in front of you, you're gonna look tiny. But listen, I think he's a very good goalkeeper. But what do I think about him? I think um, I get the sense that Tata brought him because his ability on the ball.
Mhm.
Because when you look at the history of the game, the goalkeepers that were undersized, they were good on the ball.
Mhm.
They gave you something that made up for that. And more often than not, it was their ability to dominate the ball.
Right.
And I don't think that we've seen enough from Hoyos to be like, wow, that is the difference maker. Is it there? You can tell there's quality. Hopefully, as he settles more into the league, um, the team also settles as well because
Mhm.
right, Atlanta United hasn't started hot, so he's getting a lot of opportunities against them, and a lot of times counter-attacking opportunities, which it's something very difficult to defend as a goalkeeper. The easier thing for goalkeepers to make saves, and
Mhm.
there's no surprise, there's no coincidence that the last as far as I can think of, three goalkeepers of the year in Major League Soccer. They played for teams that sat in a low block and got peppered all the time,
Mm.
right? That's the easiest thing for a goalkeeper to do. That's the minimal, is to make saves. The hardest thing for a goalkeeper is to play for a team that plays aggressive, that plays in a high line, that you have to make decisions, that you have to stay connected to your line, that you have to go out of your box to intercept crosses or balls over the top. And that's what Atlanta United, has suffered over the last few games, and that's difficult for a goalkeeper.
How can DC United hurt Atlanta United this weekend?
Yeah, this is going to be a game of. I know that Atlanta United wants the ball, but at the same time, I think they understand that they're a better transition team at the moment, and so is DC United. So I'd almost see it as kind of like a hot potato
Yeah,
type of game.
yeah.
It's like, hey, we want the ball, but if you have it, we're fine with that. Um, Look, we know that DC United, talent-wise, is at a deficit compared to Atlanta United, but they've had a pretty good start, and they got a killer in the box in Baribo. I mean,
Mhm.
Baribo doesn't need a lot of chances, and he's a guy that creates great movement, and he can finish one time, left, right, headers. It doesn't matter. The guy's a fantastic finisher. Now he needs the service. He's not a guy that's going to create his own chances. So. Um, I think defensively for Atlanta United, you solve the problem of Baribo if you stop the players that can get him the ball, because he's at the mercy of crosses and through balls and all that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. They got a couple of interesting players, Peltola, the Brazilian, the couple of Brazilians that they have that are inconsistent, but any given day they can give you really good games. It's gonna be an interesting match for sure.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you about Cooper Sanchez,
Yeah,
17-year-old midfielder. Tata, after the Philadelphia win, I'm going to paraphrase, said it's rare to see a 17-year-old kind of see the game or read the game like he does. I'm curious what you're seeing from him and what is his ceiling?
yeah. I mean, the ceiling, it's that's for him to tell us, right?
Mm.
But the reality is that he's a very talented kid. He seems mature. Um, I think he's learning a ton because of the situation as well, right? Because he came into an Atlanta United team that is full of talented pieces, but not necessarily a team that has shown to be cohesive
Right.
and together. And I'd argue that you learn the most from difficult situations. And I think that's the situation that he's in. There's no doubt in my mind that Atlanta United is gonna straighten the ship and they're going to be fine just because they have a quality coach and quality players, and it seems like he's finding, how things work. But he's good on the ball. He's technical. He can cover a ton of ground. Like I said, he doesn't get too excited in the
Mhm.
moment, in the big moments, right? And that's obviously a sign of maturity. And also, I think he's seen around the league that there's so many young players that are having success. So that's
Mhm.
got to be motivating for him because he's got the tools. And look, if Tata Martino, a World Cup coach, a coach that has won championships and has coached at the absolute highest level, he sees something in you and he decides to leave players of quality and more experience on the bench for you. I mean, that's got to make you feel good, right? And
Yeah.
and and you have to truly believe that you have some tools and a skill set that's going to take you far. So I like him a lot. I hope that he keeps giving him opportunities because you know I'm excited when I see the young kids play, especially in teams that have choices, right? Because there are teams that play their young players because it's almost like
Right. They
we
have
don't
to.
really have a ton of options. But
Right.
Atlanta United does. They have a ton of options, especially in the middle of the field, and hopefully he can continue to get those opportunities because he's got a high ceiling.
All right. That wraps up another Soccer with Doug podcast, this time a video podcast with Apple's Miguel Gallardo, who previewed Saturday's game between Atlanta United and DC United at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I hope that you'll subscribe to Soccer with Doug. You can go to soccerwithdoug.substack.com/subscribe. And I hope that you'll follow me on social media. All the handles are Soccer with Doug. Thank you. And as always, hug your loved ones, communicate with your loved ones, and let's take care of each other. Till next time.